Well, hello everybody. Hi everyone, my name is Ayus and I react to fun stuff around UK and Europe in this channel. Now, recently we looked at the video around the difference between Great Britain, UK and England. Well, that was quite an interesting video because personally I never knew what UK actually was. Like, is it a country or is it... I have actually always heard about the royal family of UK, but I've never is UK a country? That question was always in my mind, and after this video, I realized okay, UK is actually kind of mix of all the four countries, and I received some good comments in that video. People reacted to it. One guy commented on that, and I'm very grateful that I now know about UK. But I still had a lot of confusions regarding the parliament because the video said that every country has its own parliament, but there is another parliament, that's UK parliament. And that was kind of confusing because a country is ruled by two parliaments. That was kind of confusing to me. And England does not have its own parliament. That is uh, that is also what I got to know from one of the England guy, like who commented on my video. So it really got me intrigued, and yeah, I have this video from UK Parliament channel itself. It's called An Introduction to Parliament. So we are going to watch this. And if you guys have not subscribed yet, do subscribe, guys. In a few months from now, I'm going to be more knowledgeable than you guys with stuffs related to UK. So I'm hoping for that. That is why I'm watching this video. This is kind of like a daily dose for me, and I'm recording this. I'm reacting to it so that my questions get answered by all of you guys. That is why do subscribe. I would love you guys to join in my journey. And I'm not from America. I'm not from Australia. I'm not from the Europe in general. I hope my accent speaks. I'm from Asia. I'm not from India as well, so if that's creating any confusion here. But yeah, let's watch this video. Let's see what it is like, how the parliament is set up in the UK. We have this video ready. I hope you guys can see the screen. I'll just...
Healthcare, education, the environment, international aid, crime. Issues affecting all our lives are shaped and driven by Parliament. But how did it all begin? What does Parliament do all day, and how do you fit in? Parliament has evolved throughout its long history to become what it is today, changing over time to meet the needs of the people. Two key historical events began this process. In 1215, King John put his seal on Magna Carta and agreed to a list of 63 rules set out by a group of barons. This ensured for the first time that no one, not even the king, was above the law. 50 years later, Simon de Montfort, for the first time, invited representatives of the towns and shires to his 1265 Parliament. These events established the foundations for the representative democracy we have today, and from this point onwards, the power to make decisions for the nation passed, over time, from the monarch to Parliament. Let's take a closer look at the UK Parliament today.
So I think that parliament is really a good thing because a monarch system, like the royal families, they are mostly like out of the... they really don't know what's happening with the common people. And I think like having common people represent common people in the parliament, that's really a good thing. But that is also not really a good thing at some cases because the parliament members might work for their best rather than the people. So that is also happening in most of the countries, in my country as well. So parliament is also like has its own flaws, but I think it's always better than monarch. Okay, so parliament structure.
Parliament is made up of three parts: the House of Commons, the House of Lords, and the monarch. The House of Commons is the elected chamber of Parliament. It debates big issues, proposes laws, amends existing ones, and
Okay,
challenges
so
the government.
I had actually watched a video around 11 facts about House of Commons, and if you see these green chairs, there was like the fact about House of Commons that the chairs are like all the seats are green, and I can see it here as well. So that's kind of you know good animation, like fully focused into the details. So I just wanted to point that out. Nothing over.
Government's work. There are 650 members of parliament, or
Sure.
MPs, who each represent a constituency in the UK. They belong to either a political party or are independent, and are elected by constituents of the area they want to represent. The leader of the party that has the most MPs elected after a general election becomes the Prime Minister and heads up the government. They choose a cabinet made up of 20 senior ministers, who coordinate each government department's work. Parties not in power are called the opposition. MPs from the opposition and government question
Are there just two parties in the UK, or there are multiple parties? And one more thing, like when election happens, when these parliament members are selected by the election. Is the election happening on all these countries in England as well, in Wales and I think Northern Ireland, and does election happen everywhere, just for the UK Parliament, or how does it work? If you guys are from UK, do comment it, because I would love to know.
the government on policy and proposed laws. The Speaker keeps the House in order by chairing these debates. The House of Lords is the second chamber and shares the making and shaping of laws with the House of Commons.
Okay.
It has around 800 members, and it's made up mostly of life peers, and also includes hereditary peers and bishops. Lords are selected for their knowledge and experience, and hold government to account by using their expertise to look at laws and issues in detail.
That's a
The
good
monarch's
thing to
role
have,
is
like,
mainly
two
ceremonial.
different houses.
They meet the Prime Minister once a week to hear what's going on in Parliament and formally agree every new law. But that's not all. There are also people working behind the scenes who support the work of Parliament. Clerks,
That's true in
librarians,
every
researchers, and many more.
What in government you are
The government has been elected to run the country, and Parliament holds the government to account for us, the public. But how? Prime Minister's questions and ministerial questions give MPs and Lords the opportunity to challenge the government's policies. It's in these debates that they can share the views of their constituents and the public, and how new policies may affect them. Another important way
So, like, the Prime Minister is actually selected, like, one of the Parliament member gets elected as a Prime Minister, if I'm correct. I'm not that politically aware of these things, but that's what I think, I guess, is.
Parliament can scrutinise or look in detail at the work of government is through select committees. Select committees analyse and scrutinise policy. They're made up of either MPs, Lords, or a mixture of both. Together, committee members look at a particular subject and make recommendations on improvements.
Okay.
Witnesses with expertise in the area under scrutiny are called to give evidence, which is used to help shape the committee's inquiry. Members of the public, like you, with a view on the subject can also give evidence for consideration. At the end of an inquiry, a committee writes a report with recommendations that the government usually responds to within 60 days.
Okay.
Both
And
houses
this
in
is actually made by the UK Parliament, so if it's actually practically, everything goes on right. If you guys are from UK, do let us know. Do let me know, because this is totally from UK Parliament channel as well, so it could be more biased and spreading some misinformation, showing everything in perfect order.
Parliament
Well,
share
I would love to
responsibility
know
for
what's the
making and
reality.
shaping laws. But where do laws come from in the first place? A bill is a proposal for a new
I know
law,
what a
or
bill
to
is.
change an existing law, and comes from lots of places, like governing and opposition parties, public inquiries, civil servants, or campaign groups. So how does an idea get turned into a law? Imagine the government wanted to place greater controls over the internet. A proposal called a Green Paper is published, which presents the government's ideas for future policy. This is open for public discussion, with interested groups like internet service providers and others likely to be affected. Once findings are gathered, a white paper is published, which outlines a firmer plan for government policy. Cabinet ministers must agree whether the proposal is taken forward. Once agreed, a bill is drawn up and the minister responsible for the policy introduces the bill to Parliament for debate. MPs and members of the House of Lords comment on, debate or amend the bill through several stages, and at the end of the process, apart from very rare circumstances, it must be agreed by both houses. It's then passed to the monarch, who gives formal approval or royal assent, and the bill becomes law, called an Act of Parliament.
This is such a long process, and it's necessary, like, before passing any bill to make it a law. I think it's really necessary to have all of the. I wonder if how many bills actually pass, every few days, or like what's the frequency of these bills getting passed? Like, is it, just because there would be people debating around each bill, right? And that's normal to happen. So, if every bill has, opponent parties, and, they are debating, and, you know, does the debate ever end, or it's like, straight up voting, and, if it gets maximum number of views, like votes, the bill become like passes and everything happens. But if that's the case, then the majority seat holding party, the one who won the election, they can actually vote, all of them can vote, and that would eventually become a law, right? Okay, here comes
In the
elections
UK,
and
we
voting.
live in a democracy, which means power is in the hands of the people through our right to vote. Throughout history, lots of people in the UK have campaigned for the voting rights we have today. There are lots of different types of elections to vote in: general, local, European. Let's take a closer look
So
at how MPs are elected to
general
the
means for the Great Britain, I guess.
House of Commons through the general election. General elections take place in the UK usually once every 5 years, and every seat is up for grabs. On
Okay,
polling
nice.
day, voters make a choice from a list of candidates. The candidate with the most votes then becomes
Is it
that
still like ballot paper, or there's an electric system right now, electronic, like, hardware?
constituency's MP. Okay, but how would I know who to vote for? Before elections, candidates need to campaign to get people to vote for them. Campaigning can involve handing out political leaflets, speaking in public debates, talking to people during door-to-door visits, and party political broadcasts.
I have to say that
Parties
animation
standing
is
for
really,
election
really
publish
nice
a
here.
declaration of their policies
Like, I'm
during the
understanding
campaign,
everything
called a
right now.
manifesto. Once elected, an
Like, it's
MP
from the
represents all their
basics.
constituents, even the ones that didn't vote or voted for a different candidate. The party with the most MPs elected forms the government, and
Okay.
their leader becomes
Becomes the
Prime
Prime
Minister.
Minister. Okay, that
And
was
if there's a hung
that's-
parliament, where there's no
Right,
clear
yes.
winner, then a minority government or a coalition government may be created,
Or a fresh
fresh
election.
election held.
Okay, that would be expensive to create a fresh.
One way to have a say in how the country is run is to use your vote. You have to be 18 or over to vote in general elections, but you can register from the age of 16. There are
nice.
lots of other ways to get involved and have your voice heard, whatever your age. Remember, MPs represent all of their constituents. But how? You can visit an MP in their local constituency office, or you can even travel to the Houses of Parliament to lobby them in Central Lobby. Lords have
can
knowledge and
actually do that.
experience in specific subject areas. You can look them up by policy interest on the Parliament website. Anyone can contact any Lord or their local MP by letter, phone, or email to discuss an issue that's
nice.
important to them or their community.
Okay, that's nice.
Sometimes, though, there's strength in numbers. So, to get your voice heard, you could join the youth section of a party or the UK Youth Parliament.
This is such
If
a nice
you're
system,
passionate
like,
about an issue, you
our
could
country
start a
does not
petition
have
for a cause
things
either
like
on
that.
paper or online, or join an existing campaign, pressure,
These are
or
big
protest group to influence decision making. These groups use different methods to get their voices heard, from lobbying to peaceful protest, all designed to bring about change. And don't forget, you can get your voice heard in school or college too by joining or starting a student council, a bit like a mini parliament. So, Parliament sits at the heart of UK democracy, debating the big issues of the day,
I think UK
making and
Parliament is
shaping
in
laws,
England.
and holding the government to account. By voting, petitioning, campaigning, and more, you can also get involved with the work of Parliament. What will you do?
Okay, so That was such a nice video, I must say. Like, coming it from the UK Parliament channel itself, it was really, like, informative and really beginner friendly. If you have no idea around politics and how Parliament works, this was the finest video that I have ever seen. Like, it explained to me everything, like how many houses are there, and how are the elections taking place. That was such a fine video, I must say. Like, and I really like the system of having the petition, and like you can directly call your MPs. I'm not sure if you can actually, like, it is said in the UK like in this video, but guys, if you're from UK and uh, you know have you ever called an MP before? If there is a problem in your area, have you ever called, or this one is just for the sake of this video? It's explained like this. I do want to know about that. And people watching this video, I really want to ask you, like, if you have, like, I'm not sure when did the first parliament start to happen, like in the UK, like exactly what year. But if you guys have experienced, before and after the parliament things, then I would love to know the experience of your guys, as a younger generation. If you guys have any suggestions around, like, which system is nice, or like, are you guys happy with the current parliament system, having such a number, like huge number of parliaments, like members? That is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because from my perspective, like, having too many members means there would be a lot of increase in the expense for the government as well. And not necessarily it's a nice thing, but if you like see the broader perspective, like having like UK is actually definitely very huge, right? Having like England and all the countries makes up, having that number of parliament members, I think it's good as well. Like, uh, to represent all the places, but that definitely means an increase in expense, or maybe unwanted people there. uh, and one more thing that I have to ask, like, have these parliament members, do they actually listen to you guys? Like, do they actually debate what's necessary, or like they are selfish as well? Because it all like if you if 1,000 people, like 10 like 2,000 or 3,000 people vote for one MP and he gets elected, that means he has to represent all the people, right? He can't work for himself, like for his own beliefs and his thinking. And yeah, I would love to know if there is any incident like that, like in the parliament, that has happened. If any bill that was, you know, against the petition of majority of people, but still got approved, and then the law has already been made. I think that would be a lot of bad. That would be a really really bad thing if that has happened. But yeah, that was a nice video, guys. I really really enjoyed it. I really really learned new things. If you guys want to join in the journey, do subscribe. I would love to know more about UK government and all the parliamentary stuff and other things as well. So do subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. All right.